Welcome to the Panthers Sports Report, presented by the Milwaukee Brewing Company. Founded on the principles of crafting and creating beers using the best local ingredients. Make sure to visit them today at either their location in the Arena District or the 3rd Ward. Hi everybody, we are here at the location in the Arena District. Panthers Sports Report, Scott Warris, head men's basketball coach, Pat Baldwin. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I don't mind the on-campus studio. This I like a little bit more. I don't know about you.
Yeah, these digs are really nice. So I appreciate being here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, look, before we get into some specifics, let's talk about this season as a whole in terms of everything that you and every team across America have had to deal with. Now that you have some space to reflect, can you kind of give the folks at home an idea of what a day in the life of a Division I college basketball team is like during a global pandemic?
Yeah, I'll take you all the way back to the spring and in the summer. It was really tough. We couldn't go out and recruit in the spring. We had to recruit and do things virtually from that standpoint. So we did a lot of our recruiting virtually, online, whatever media format you want to talk about from that standpoint. So we did that in the summer from basically May until August. We still didn't have an opportunity to meet in person with our new recruits and our current guys. So it was really difficult, but we got through that. And then we finally got back on campus in August, and it was a crash course, to say the least, in all the things that we wanted to try to incorporate from a basketball standpoint. But the day in the life of a student athlete right now, it's virtual online classes. It's meeting with your academic advisor, not in person a lot of times. It's on Teams or Zoom or something like that, and then that's a difficult thing if you're used to meeting with your professor in person. If you're used to meeting your academic advisor in person, that can be a challenge. And then the other things are obviously the masks that they have to wear in the buildings and around everyone, and that's the challenge. And then you have the challenge of trying to stay safe. And I know we went through a stretch where we were paused for a bit, and then we had to make our rounds once we got back into getting into shape and playing a basketball game right away. So it's a challenge, but our guys were really, really good about handling that adversity.
I imagine from a certain perspective, everybody's used to it by now. Like you say, here we sit in early mid-February. You guys have been through, like you said, your own pause. You have, everybody understands how the testing process goes and how to prepare for a game during this, and it's kind of the new norm.
Yeah, you get used to it, or you learn to get used to it, but you still hate it. You want to try to return back to normal, but at the same time, it's something that we have to manage and we have to work through. And this is no different than we tell our guys and other things that go on in life. So, at this point, we have to really do a great job of helping our young men and incorporating this new style into their lives, which can be difficult at times.
In terms of in-game differences, there are no fans at Horizon League games this year, which means the energy, more likely than not, has to come from the bench. It's been a remarkable thing to watch. I think in some ways, Coach, the ebbs and flows of a game are very stark, maybe more so now than ever, because you can kind of see it in the two benches. Okay, they're up. Now they're up. Did you have to address that early and often with your guys? Like, look, we're going to rely, if you're not in the game, we need you to be loud more so than ever before.
Yeah, no question about it. We talked about that. The first thing, obviously, you talk about the energy that emanates from the crowd, and that's absent. So then we start talking about Benergy, the bench energy that you need. And that was something that was really important for our guys to understand, that we need to fuse that and give our guys out there on the court that energy that they needed. And then after that, it was synergy. Once you have all those things, you need that synergy on the court, and hopefully that can carry you through in a game.
Playing all your games this year at the Klachi Center. You're not downtown at Panther Arena. Do you find that to be an advantage, considering you practice there, you shoot at those hoops, the locker rooms and the offices are right downstairs? Has that proved to be a convenience, maybe?
Yeah, it's definitely a convenience where you don't have to shift and go from, campus to downtown and driving down, and we practice there all the time. So we got used to the stanchions, the basketball goals, we don't have a parquet floor like the Celtics used to have, but you have, maybe some dead spots in the floor. You get used to those things as well. But it's definitely a convenience, something that we've tried to work to our advantage at times. And, it's with what we had to deal with, this is perfect.
What do you make of the Horizon League schedule? This year, it's been a Friday, for the most part, a Friday, Saturday, a back-to-back. Same opponent, back-to-back days, either at their place or at your place. I imagine it has presented some challenges, but also maybe some opportunity there as well. What do you make of the way the schedule has had to be rearranged?
Yeah, from my vantage point, I was used to it because in D2 days, you went back-to-back days. But from a player's standpoint, they have to be the ones out there on the court. And so it's a challenge because from day one, you're trying to play as hard as you can to win that first game. And then, day two is really the tough spot you're in because depending upon how you use your bench and depending upon minutes and how the game goes, you got to come back in a short turnaround and compete at the same level. And so that's one challenge. The other thing that I think is great is you're playing the same opponent. So you can hear calls from a defensive standpoint. You can see what they're trying to take advantage of and what you can take advantage of out there on the floor. And you can make those adjustments pretty quickly. So that's a great thing about playing the back-to-back. The tough thing is just the physical toll that it takes on your guys.
Real quickly, we have less than a minute left before the commercial, but what does that mean for the night after the first game or the morning of the second game? What does that mean for prep for the guys?
Yeah, our training staff, our strength and conditioning coach, they become the superstars in this whole thing. Matt Holt, who's our strength and conditioning coach, and Grant Rohrig, our trainer, athletic trainer, they're giving, our vitamins, the water, the Gatorades. We're doing mobility and dynamic stretching and all that stuff, and stem treatment. And if anyone's injured, that becomes really important for us to be available to come back the next day.
Got to keep the legs fresh.
Absolutely.
All right, quick break, Coach. When we come back, let's talk personnel. What have we learned about the Panther personnel this year? That next as the Panthers Sports Report continues, presented by the Milwaukee Brewing Company.
UW-Milwaukee was my first choice because it has a top business school.
Because I wanted to go to a diverse campus with supportive resources.
Because of its leading engineering school.
Because they connect students with internships at Fortune 500 companies.
UWM was my first choice. They have strong programs for health professionals.
Because its green campus is helping me get involved in sustainability.
UW-Milwaukee was my first choice because they helped me discover my passion for public health. Make it yours.
Panthers Sports Report, presented by the Milwaukee Brewing Company, continues. You can hear it in the background. There's beer being made as we do this, Coach. Nothing like live stuff. I love it, right?
No, it's really good.
Okay, let's talk personnel. Got to start with your team leader, your senior point guard, T. John Lucas. And it's been a pleasure and a privilege to see him the last couple of years, but to see this year him really, and you can see it on his face, trying and wanting, and more times than not following through on carrying these guys, whether it's scoring, rebounding. He's your leading rebounder. We know what he does with steals and assists, and you've needed it many, many nights, and he's provided it. It's great to have the type of kid who says, climb on my back, I'll lead you through whatever we're going to go through.
Yeah, first of all, you need a leader like that that knows his responsibilities and what he has to do in order to help your team win. So, he leads us in scoring, and there are nights that he doesn't have it and doesn't shoot it well. We still need him to be strong in that area and trying to make some things happen from that standpoint. Leads us in rebounding, where nights that maybe a CJ and Amir have to block out the best offensive rebounder on another team, he comes in and snatches up those rebounds and gets us out in transition, which is really important. And then obviously the assist and steals and all the other things, the intangibles, he's been the ultimate warrior for us from the time that he stepped on the court and been able to play. And even through injuries, which he's dealing with probably 3 or 4 right now, that he just continues to come each and every night and ready to play. So he's someone that's of extreme value to our program.
What has allowed him to rebound this year at the clip he has? Can you explain what's going on there that's giving him those opportunities?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's just toughness. You know, it's in a want-to. They talk about it all the time. Or Rodmans, your guys that are really good rebounders, and even your best guard rebounders in the league. Now, like a Westbrook, it's a want-to and a responsibility that you have as well. You know, to go in and help on the glass. So you know that's what it comes down to for him. And I was in that position too as a point guard, averaging about 0.5 rebounds a game as well, not leading our team, but still. It's really important if you know that your guards are helping out downhill and cleaning up some of the glass work when you're tangled with some bears down there. Or Panthers.
I never asked you this before, but I will right now, because I never thought of asking you this. What would a Baldwin-Lucas point guard matchup look like? Handicap that matchup for me.
You know, first of all, Tijon would probably beat me. If we're talking today, he'd probably beat me. But it would be, I mean, we both would be dead tired because we'd be fouling each other the entire night. And we'd probably have some scratches on our bodies and all of that. But, you know, 2 tough guys that are going after it, probably be an even matchup. And I'd give the nod to Tijon.
Very good, very good. Okay. Deandre Golson. Tell us, before we get into what he's provided you, tell us the backstory. Here he is, him and Tijon kind of going back and forth in terms of scoring leader this year. Tallahassee Community College, Gary, Indiana native. What's the backstory as to how you learned of Dre and how he learned of Milwaukee?
Well, first, you know, I learned of him through AAU and watching him in high school, and he ended up going to Kent State to start out. And unfortunately for him, didn't work out there. He transferred to Tallahassee, and we started recruiting him from there. We did a great job of staying in touch and keeping mind of what he's doing. And then, you know, once COVID hit and everything stopped, just really aggressively pursuing him. He's been great. Gary, Indiana, you know a lot about the area. A lot of times it's a tough area, but also it's similar to Milwaukee from the standpoint of blue collar, very hard working community, and that's who he is. And we're very fortunate to have someone who is as tough as he is and provides the scoring that he does night in and night out.
From the get-go, too. I mean, sometimes even, and you're right, Kent State, so he had D1 experience, but sometimes going from the JUCO level to back to the D1 level, it takes a little time to get in rhythm or get acclimated. Not really with Dre, not at all.
Yeah, he acclimated really quickly and indoctrinated himself in what we're doing. And I told him yesterday, we met yesterday, and I just told him, you actually surprised me on how quickly that you just came along for us and really, you know, made ownership of this team and taking on a lot of responsibility. So he's been great. I love him. He works hard, and he's going to be, you know, hopefully we can finish out very strong with him in these last 4 games in the regular season and continue with his progressive play.
I mentioned this during the game the other day. Your offense oftentimes is at its best when he's attacking. Now, he has shown the ability to hit threes, faders from mid-range, but when he's going downhill with a head of steam and everything that emanates from that action, you guys are such a really dynamic offense.
No question about it. He's Emmitt Smith. He's Ezekiel Elliott from the Cowboys. You know, he's one of those type of guys that he has shoulders and guys bounce off of him. So we want him to use that physical body of his and that presence in order to create something for himself, get to the free throw line. I know he did that a lot in the second half against IUPUI, and that forced the turnaround there when we had a deficit to a lead because he got downhill. So we want him to be aggressive in that respect and create a lot of things at the basket if he can.
Yeah. Let's stay on the newcomer note a little bit longer. A couple of true freshmen I want to talk about. Donovan Newby, the man they call Mellow, and Devin Hancock. But let's talk about Donovan Newby first of all. And you talk about newcomers, true freshmen, who play with a comfort and a been there, done that mindset. That's not to say they won't make rookie mistakes, because that's part of the game. But they look like they belong, and they look like they've belonged from the beginning, Coach.
Absolutely. I recruited Melo for about 2 years, and each and every time I went to go watch him practice or in games or anything like that, he just had a confident demeanor about himself, never got sped up. Now, I might be faster than him right now, today, but that doesn't deter him from, playing great defense to getting to the spots he needs to. And he's been great. He shoots the ball well from three. He doesn't turn it over. And when he gets to the free throw line, I think he's only missed one on the year.
Two now.
That's my fault.
31 out of 33.
Which is ungodly. And his name belies who he is. Very mellow, very chill. And that's great to have it from your point guard.
So real quick, where does that come from for Melo? I mean, was he born with that, or how does he explain the origination of that character trait?
He has an old soul, and I think that just comes from his parents and rearing. And then he's been around the game for a long time, and really good coaches behind him that teach him that. But he's also a very smart kid too, so he understands moments. He understands when he needs to make his presence felt and when to apply himself in games. But a lot of times it's just being a point guard. You just either have it or you don't. So he's just done a great job, and hopefully he stays that way and continues to get better too in other areas.
We'll do a little bit more on the personnel when we come back. Panthers Sports Report, presented by Milwaukee Brewing Company. That's where we are. We'll continue with more in a moment.
Joel Embiid is unhappy.
Like, really unhappy.
Because the internet keeps using not-so-amazing GIFs to react to his amazing highlights. Mountain Dew presents the Joel Embiid Deserves Better Reactions GIF Collection.
Now I'm so happy.
Final segment of the Panthers Sports Report, presented by the Milwaukee Brewing Company. Coach, we were talking last segment personnel, and a couple other names I'll have you comment on. And we talked Donovan Newby to close out the last segment. Devin Hancock, then. Quick trigger. I mean, maybe the fastest trigger on the team. And again, a kid, true freshman from Texas, that has looked very comfortable from the beginning.
Yeah, Donovan's come in ready to play. He has a really good body for a freshman, and then from the ability to shoot the basketball, like you talked about, he has one of the quickest releases that I've had an opportunity to coach, and now it's just learning that consistency each and every game, and I always tell him just be ready, and he is ready when he gets in games. He's not afraid. He knows when his time comes, when he's able to shoot the basketball, and we're asking him to do some other things as well. And I think once he gets even better on the defensive end, I think we're going to have a complete player in Devin Hancock.
Grant Coleman, and right now still battling back from a concussion, so that's always a sketchy situation, and it might take him a little bit more time than he otherwise like. But pre-concussion, again, you inserted him in the starting lineup, but I know early it looked like he surprised some defenses with his ability to shoot the three at his size.
Yeah, he did. And obviously when you think about a freshman, maybe they don't have numbers and all of that. You don't know what they can do yet. And getting 14 points against Kansas State to start out was a really big eye-opener for you. And then he becomes a little bit more relevant on the scouting report. But he's not just that. He's a very skilled player. He can pass it. He can dribble. He can make plays for others. And he's even talking to me as the game is going along. I'm probably telling him on the sideline, here's a pass. He'll make the pass and say, Coach, I saw it before you. And this is during the game. So he really has an intelligence about him, great IQ, and can really shoot the basketball. And now we're just ready and waiting for him to get his rhythm back after being out with the concussion.
Boy, a player, let alone a freshman, saying that to you on the sidelines, that's going to be music to your ears.
It is. When you talk about, I don't have to coach and just manage the game now, he can see a play happen before it does. And, he's adjusted to the speed of the game. And again, we're asking him to, make his adjustments on the defensive end and get better on that end. But from an offensive standpoint, he has some really good game there.
Last player here, and then we'll move on to some other topics and things. But got to talk about Tafari Sims. He's missed the last handful of games with a foot, but 32 points. I think he jumped on everybody else's radar, at least with that performance. And we talk about guys being able to provide a spark off the bench. I don't know what you call 32 points off the bench. That's a full-fledged forest fire. That's more than a spark. Yeah. And his backstory is a really fascinating one. His basketball journey to get to Milwaukee is crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, his passport is filled right now from obviously coming from his hometown of our home country, Jamaica, and then to Canada, and then to Mississippi, and then to Texas, and then to here. So he has a lot of stamps that I wish I could even have in my passport. But his transformation from all those places to here, I think has worked towards his advantage. Just being able to adjust to different environments, acclimating himself very quickly, that's been a key for him. And then we were just waiting on the basketball court for him to find his niche out there on the court. We knew that he had some elements of scoring and being able to play that way, but he really jumped out on the page with his 32-point performance against IUPUI. And then the following week, he had 24 against IPFW. So he can score, and it's just unfortunate that he got hurt and wasn't able to follow up on it.
And his, I imagine that background, that personal history, has to bring with it a certain degree of maturity then. When you've traveled like that, and you've played in all those different venues, but on the court, and I think I said this to you early on in the season, his frame, rangy, I think is the word that I used, because he's got a wingspan. He can attack and do things around the rim because of the angles on some of his shots, and then he can step out and hit the three. One of your best three-point shooters.
He's a crafty beer like the Milwaukee Brewing Company. Just from the standpoint of he can do so many different things. He's versatile. He can step out and shoot the three around the basket with a 6'10", 6'11" wingspan. He's able to shoot his shot over bigger opponents. He's only about 6'6", so that really helps him. His footwork is almost impeccable. And we're just happy that he's able to do all those things. And we're looking forward to getting him back.
As we sit here on this day, what are some overall team successes this year? What have been some facets of the unit that you have really enjoyed and thought we've done well in those areas?
I think collectively as a team, that's what I'm really most impressed with our guys, that they've, through COVID, through not seeing each other and gelling so quickly, this has probably been one of the most cohesive groups that I've been around and been able to coach. Just their love for each other and care for each other, I think that's really impressive. The other thing is, as our older guys are, Amir and Josh and Tijan, they have played together, and CJ and Courtney, they played together before. The assimilation of Deandre Golson, the addition of Tafari and our freshmen being able to play, that's been something that has been really, really fun to see in that development. Because when you have new guys, it takes a while for them to get together and really gel together, and our guys have certainly done that.
One of the trends early, opening game at Kansas State, you couldn't help but notice your team's ability to get to the free throw line, and more importantly, make the throws. I mean, if the season ended today, I think it'd be close to the top all-time single-season free throw mark. You guys are making a run in program history. What has allowed that aggressive mindset to be a trait this year? Get to the line, make your throws.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of when you have an attacking guard like Tijan, you have good guards that can get to the paint like Deandre with his body, with his physicality. Josh is getting to the line more. I think it's that combination. And then we work on it every single day with the attacking in practice, but also we work on our free throws every single day. So like you said, not only just getting there, you got to make them and convert.
Right, about a minute left. Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. Friday night, Saturday afternoon. We'll have it for you on the Black and Gold Network. Mini scouting report, if you could, Coach. We know the pedigree.
Yeah, great challenge ahead of us. Veteran team. They have pretty much everyone back, and they have some newcomers that are really helping them out. They play 7 guys. Their anchor is Loudon Love. He's picked preseason player of the year, and he's playing like that. So we have a lot of things that we have to cover from a defensive standpoint, and then offensively, for us, going up against them, it's going up against a team that wants to try to keep you out of their paint. They want to force perimeter jump shots. We have to be patient offensively and not get out of character.
All right. Panthers, Raiders, Friday night, Saturday afternoon. Coach, thanks. This was fun.
Thank you very much.
We'll do it again real soon. We'll see you next time on the Panthers Sports Report presented by the Milwaukee Brewing Company.